Maya Chen watched in disbelief as Professor Davidson dismissed another female student's question. With a patronizing smile, his words dripping with condescension as he suggested she stick to topics more suited to her nature. The lecture hall buzzed with uncomfortable tension, but no one dared to speak up, not until Maya's trembling hand shot into the air. "With all due respect, Professor, your comment about women being naturally less analytical contradicts decades of research in cognitive psychology," Maya said, her voice steadier than her racing heart. "Perhaps you should update your references beyond 1950. The room fell silent. Professor Davidson's face reddened as he stammered something about youthful idealism, but Maya was already pulling out her phone. Without thinking, she hit record and asked her follow-up question about gender bias in academic environments. His response was even worse, a rambling monologue about traditional roles and biological limitations that made several students visibly cringe. Maya stopped recording and immediately uploaded the video to TikTok with the caption, "When your psychology professor thinks it's still 1955, #outdated views, #callout, #university." She expected maybe her dormmates would see it, perhaps get a few dozen likes. She certainly didn't expect to wake up the next morning to 2.3 million views and counting. Her phone buzzed incessantly with notifications. Comments poured in, thousands of them. Some praised her courage. "Yes, call him out, Queen. And this is why we need young voices in academia." Others were less kind. "Disrespectful brat, and kids these days have no respect for authority." News outlets were already reaching out. Campus blogs were writing articles. Her Instagram followers jumped from 300 to 50,000 overnight. By the time Maya stumbled to her morning literature class, whispers followed her down every hallway. Students she'd never met were taking selfies with her. The campus newspaper wanted an interview. Someone had already made memes of Professor Davidson's bewildered expression. Maya Chen, a girl with perfectly straightened hair and a press badge, rushed up to her. "I'm Jessica from the Student News Network. We'd love to get your thoughts on the response to your video. You're like totally famous now." Maya felt dizzy. She'd always been the quiet one, the girl who preferred books to parties, who carefully planned every word before speaking in class. Now suddenly everyone wanted to hear what she had to say, and she wasn't sure she was ready for that kind of attention. Her roommate Zoe greeted her with a mixture of excitement and concern. "Girl, you broke the internet, but also there are some pretty nasty comments on there. Maybe you should take a break from social media today." But Maya couldn't look away. Every refresh brought new comments, new followers, new interview requests. The university had released a statement saying they were reviewing the matter. Professor Davidson had been placed on temporary leave. Student activists were organizing rallies, all because of one impulsive moment, one video she'd posted without really thinking it through. As she scrolled through the endless stream of reactions, Maya realized she'd crossed a line she couldn't uncross. Her quiet life was over, replaced by something she'd never asked for and wasn't sure she wanted. The girl who'd been invisible for 18 years was now the center of a campus-wide controversy, and she had no idea how to handle what came next. 3 weeks into her viral fame, Maya's life had become unrecognizable. Her morning routine now included checking her social media metrics, alongside brushing her teeth. Followers, likes, comments, shares. The numbers had become both addictive and terrifying. Her TikTok account had exploded to 400,000 followers, and brands were sliding into her DMs, offering sponsorship deals for everything from study planners to energy drinks. "You should totally take the Luminusu deal," said Becca, one of her newfound friends who seemed to appear from nowhere after the video went viral. $5,000 for one post, that's more than most people make in months. Becca had inserted herself into Maya's daily life with the enthusiasm of someone who'd found a golden ticket, always suggesting new ways to leverage her platform. Maya stared at the contract on her laptop screen. Part of her was tempted the money would help with textbooks and maybe even rent. But something felt wrong about hawking supplements to her followers, who trusted her voice on social justice issues. "I don't know. It doesn't feel authentic to what I was trying to say." "Authentic?" Becca laughed, scrolling through her own phone. "Maya, you have a platform now. You can make real money and still make a difference. Look at this: the campus feminist group wants you to speak at their rally next week. You could promote the supplement and then talk about women's rights. Two birds, one stone. The rally. Maya had agreed to speak before she'd fully processed what that meant. Now, looking at the event page with over 3,000 people marked as attending, her stomach churned. What if she froze? What if she said something wrong? What if she disappointed everyone who'd turned her into some kind of symbol? Her phone buzzed with a text from her high school friend Sarah. Saw your latest video. You seem different. Everything okay? Maya had posted a response video to some of the criticism she'd been receiving, but watching it back, she barely recognized herself. The careful, measured way she spoke, the way she seemed to be performing rather than just being. When had she started talking like that? The anxiety had been building for days. Maya found herself checking her comments obsessively, refreshing her notifications every few minutes. The positive messages felt like oxygen, but the negative ones, and there were plenty, hit like physical blows. Someone had found her high school yearbook photo and was mocking her appearance. Others questioned whether she was really feminist enough, whether she was too privileged to speak for other women, whether she was just seeking attention. You need to respond to the backlash about your privilege, advised Marcus, another new friend who'd appointed himself as her unofficial social media strategist. Some people are saying you can't represent all women because you're Asian American and middle class. You should make a video acknowledging your privilege, but also standing firm in your message. Maya felt trapped. Every statement seemed to require another statement. Every video spawned 10 more issues she needed to address. She'd become a full-time content creator without meaning to, and the weight of everyone's expectations was crushing her. Her grades were slipping. She'd stopped going to her favorite coffee shop because people recognized her there. Even her family was getting dragged into it. Her mother had called, worried about articles mentioning their family business. Late that night, alone in her dorm room while Zoe was at a party Maya had been too anxious to attend, she stared at her reflection in her phone camera. She'd been about to record another video, this one addressing the privilege comments, but suddenly she couldn't remember what she actually wanted to say. The words that came to mind weren't hers. They were carefully crafted responses designed to manage her image rather than express her truth. For the first time since the video went viral, Maya put her phone down without posting anything. The silence felt both terrifying and liberating. Who was she when no one was watching? She wasn't sure she remembered anymore. The turning point came at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, when Maya found herself crying in the campus library stacks over a philosophy essay she couldn't focus on. Her phone sat silent beside her. She'd turned off notifications hours ago, unable to handle another wave of opinions about her latest post. The essay topic was about authentic existence, and the irony wasn't lost on her. You know, said a quiet voice from the next aisle, I was here the day you confronted Davidson. Maya looked up to see Elena, a junior from her literature class, settling down with her own stack of books. I've been watching all the chaos since then. Must be exhausting. Maya wiped her eyes, embarrassed to be caught crying. Everyone expects me to have all the answers now. Like that one moment made me some kind of expert on everything. Elena nodded thoughtfully. I've been thinking about that. The video went viral because it was real. You saw something wrong and reacted honestly. But now it feels like you're trying to be what everyone else wants you to be. The observation hit deeper than any comment or criticism Maya had received. She'd been so busy managing her image, crafting responses, and maintaining her platform that she'd lost sight of why she'd spoken up in the first place. It hadn't been strategic or planned. It had been genuine frustration with injustice. Nothing more complicated than that. The next morning, Maya made a decision. Instead of posting her usual content, she uploaded a simple video of herself walking across campus. No makeup, no script. I think I've been overthinking this, she said to the camera. 3 weeks ago, I called out a professor because what he said was wrong. I didn't do it to become an influencer or to represent anyone but myself. I'm still just figuring things out, and I think that's okay. The response was immediate and polarizing. She lost 30,000 followers in the first day. Becca and Marcus distanced Themselves disappointed by her lack of strategy, brand deals evaporated. But something else happened to the comments that remained were different, more real. People shared their own stories of finding their voices, of making mistakes, of learning to separate their online personas from their authentic selves. Maya declined the speaking engagement at the feminist rally, recommending instead that they invite Dr. Patricia Williams, a professor who'd been doing this work for decades. She deleted most of her social media apps from her phone, checking them only once a day from her laptop. Slowly, her life began to resemble something she recognized. Her grades improved. She started going to that coffee shop again, discovering that most people were too busy with their own lives to care about her moment of internet fame. She joined the campus literary magazine, not as Maya the viral girl, but as Maya the freshman who loved words and had opinions about the world. Professor Davidson quietly retired at the end of the semester. The university implemented new sensitivity training. Maya's video had created real change, but she'd learned that sustainable change came from consistent work, not viral moments. 6 months later, Maya had 50,000 followers instead of 400,000, but she knew each post reflected something she actually cared about. She'd found her voice again, not the performance version designed for maximum engagement, but her own voice, complicated and evolving and authentically hers. She still posted about social issues, still called out injustice when she saw it, but now she also posted about books she loved, campus sunsets, and her struggles with organic chemistry. Her content wasn't perfectly curated, and it wasn't designed to go viral. It was just real. Standing in the same lecture hall where everything began, now taking a different class, Maya reflected on the strange journey from anonymous freshman to accidental activist to simply herself again. She'd learned that having a platform wasn't the same as having a voice, and that the most powerful thing she could do was remain genuinely herself, even when the internet was watching. What do you think? In our hyper-connected world, is it possible to maintain authentic relationships and genuine self-expression while navigating social media fame? Or does online attention inevitably change us in ways we can't control?